welcome to another episode of Powerful Teaching with Dr. Blades. Today, we are speaking with Educator Dee Harris, the founder of the Skillful Learner and one of our Teach to Empower breakout session presenters. Welcome, Dee.
Welcome. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be a part of this wonderful opportunity and this wonderful conference that you have put together. I think it's going to be amazing and a powerful, just powerful presenters and sessions. So you guys need to get your tickets because it's going to be awesome.
Well, I appreciate you coming on board, Dee. I had been kicking around this idea for a while, and I knew that whenever I did do it, I needed to have the right people. And when it came time to make that list, there was no way I could make that list without having your name on it.
Oh, thank you so much. That makes me feel even better. Thank you.
Of course. So, what I have been doing with the other Teach to Empower speakers, Dee, is giving a little bit of background on how we met or how we know each other.
Okay.
So, I want you to share with our Teach to Empower audience how you and I met.
So I had the opportunity of meeting Dr. Blades on one of her books that she wrote. I wrote a chapter in the Mediocre Teacher Project, and I actually was connected with her through my sister. And she said, she started her educational consulting business. She's taken off, it's blowing up, and she's doing all this stuff. And I really think that you should connect with her. And so we did. And then she had the Mediocre Teacher Project, and I was a co-author on that project. So that's how we met and got connected. When we've never met in person, actually, but I feel like we have, because we've worked with each other on several different things. I've taken, several of her online courses, and she's just an amazing educator. So that's how we initially connected. And like I said, I took several of her courses, and we just developed, this relationship.
Also, Dee, we took a course together from Dr. Shiva Quinn,
Yes.
who is another one of our amazing colleagues in the education field. She's a STEM educator, homeschool educator, and then just a general educator because she teaches everything from
You teach
business
everything.
development to web design to government contracting.
Yeah, her title needs to be everything educator. That's
Yeah.
that's she teaches everything.
Exactly. So Dee and I have been in a lot of spaces together. And the reason why I wanted her to bring up how we met is because those chapters that we wrote in the Mediocre Teacher Project talked about some of the challenges that we had as educators and how we wanted to address those challenges for other teachers
Most
through
definitely.
our businesses. So the fact that we're here now having this conference where we are going to help so many other educators, I didn't want to gloss over that important background. And now that we have that out of the way,
And it's crazy because it's like it's coming full circle, because like you say, you're having this conference addressing, those same issues that a lot of educators face and still need, strategies for their instructional practices. So I think it's amazing.
absolutely, absolutely. And so we want to share those best practices that have
Mhm.
helped us to overcome those challenges. Now, Dee, why don't you take a minute to tell everyone about your background in the education field and what your current position is?
So I am a high school career and technical education teacher. I've been teaching CTE courses for 20 years. I've taught all on the high school level, and I currently teach child development and early childhood education for students who are aspiring to work with the early childhood education field in some way, shape, or form. And so that's a little bit of my background. I have a bachelor's degree in human ecology with a concentration in family and consumer sciences. And then my master's degree is in human development education. So I've been in the public high school setting, like I said, for 20 years. And I've seen a lot of different things, as you can imagine, a lot of different changes, because, education is always about, trends and the next, hot thing or the next new buzzword. But I enjoy what I do. I enjoy working with children and being in the classroom.
So, Dee, what is the biggest challenge of being a CTE teacher? Because there are still a lot of people who aren't even familiar with CTE and what that entails.
Most definitely. I would definitely say one of the biggest challenges is just that, what you said, not even knowing what CTE is. You have a lot of administrators, quite frankly, that don't understand CTE because it is a huge, broad umbrella. It covers so many different things. If you think about just home economics, and then, beyond that, if you think about like now in what we're looking at on TV, like your HGTV channel, Food Network, DIY channel, all of those types of TV shows that you see on those networks and on those channels, that is all CTE. And then you think about your cosmetology instructors and your barbering classes, your auto mechanics, biomedical programs in some school districts, depending on how they use that for CTE. So it covers a wide range of courses that a lot of people don't even realize. So when you say I'm a career and technical education teacher, or I'm a CTE teacher, yeah, I'm very used to people looking at you like, okay, so what does that
Yeah,
mean?
what is
Like,
that?
okay, why don't, and then when you break it down, they're still quite frankly looking at you like, okay, I still don't get it. So that's one of the biggest challenges. And then I would also say one of the other major challenges in our field within education is we're often considered, unfortunately, the dumping ground. Like, okay, when kids have a gap in their schedule, oh, just put them in this, because we're elective classes, just put them in this elective class, just throw them in this CTE class, because when you're not a core class, a core requirement, then you're not looked upon as seriously. And then, quite frankly, a lot of our classes, I think, and I'm probably biased. No, I am biased, but it should be some of the core requirements, like things like financial literacy. Like I said, what I teach, child development, those types of things, just basic life skills is important. So it should be considered just as important as your, core requirement classes, because this is what's going to sustain you through life. We're doing, instructional practices and hands-on experiences. A lot of our students have field experiences where they're going out, they're doing internships, externships, field work, they're getting hours, and they're actually applying what they've learned in the classroom and applying it hands-on. So it's very, very significant.
So, everything you said just kind of reminded me of what I discussed with another one of our speakers, Kara Gwiff. She is a special education teacher, and she talked also about special ed being one of those forgotten disciplines.
Yeah.
And the lack of quality professional development sometimes for special education teachers. So, do you find the same thing to be the case for CTE?
Yes, because when we have our professional development, we are never used as the example. Like we have, trainings on how to use different software, or how to use different instructional strategies, but they're always using, oh, this would work in your history class. And then, right, your science teachers could use this. And then English, you could do it this way. And then you're just sitting there like, right, how can I use it?
Yeah.
Or they never even think about it, or they never approach, the CTE department to ask, could you, have input on how this could be used? So it's like you're just like the other colleagues said, you're just this forgotten about area, and it's like it's not inclusive in that sense, and we really need to change that narrative.
And that's what we're doing at Teach to Empower.
That's right. That's right.
No, seriously,
That's exactly what we're doing.
That's why I invited you to be a speaker, because I felt that we didn't want to overlook any of our educator populations at this conference.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, Dee, I've been following you on Instagram, and I really enjoy your Instagram reels. They
Thank
are
you.
entertaining.
Thank you.
It's a side of you that I really did not know existed.
It's
And
funny you say that because my sister Paula said the same thing. She's like, I still can't get used to you doing all that. And it makes me think of when I was in my drama. I took drama for a semester in high school. I sucked. I was horrible.
really,
Yeah, I was horrible. I think I made it out of that class with a C. Like it was just not my thing, but it makes me think of that because you have to perform and kind of come out your box and get out your comfort zone. So it's different, but it makes me think of that experience.
well, that's what I was going to say. Maybe you got the C in drama because you weren't comfortable at
Hmm.
the time, but now you are a mature woman, in your career, and you are very comfortable with who you are, so you can show
Yeah.
that side of your personality now. But Paula and I talked about you actually. I spoke to her a few weeks ago, and we had an in-depth conversation about your Instagram reels.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun creating, and some of them are totally, I do totally spur on the moment. And most of them are not even like, planned out. They're just spur of the moment. Something happens that day. It's like, oh, this would be a good idea. But
Yeah, I'm
thank
supposed to
you.
be taking a reels course from you, so I'll
Yes.
have to schedule that with you. Now, Dee, tell us about the Skillful Learner, why you started this business, and
Mhm.
what type of services you offer, and who your target audience is.
Okay. So again, I'm Dee Harris. I am the founder of the Skillful Learner. And the reason why I started the Skillful Learner, well, to give a little background for context, I was trying to figure out, okay, what's going to be my next phase of my career? I'm in the classroom and I think I'll be in the classroom for a little while longer, but if and when I should leave the classroom, I know that I'm always going to be in the education industry. What would I like to do next? And I was always searching for the answer to, okay, how am I going to do what I do, but in a different way? How am I going to
Mhm.
service these children in a different way? And so I thought about getting into administration and I was kind of chasing that train for a while. And I was like, you know what? That's not really for me. And I'm glad I realized that um, early on. I'm glad I was able to come to that conclusion that that was not going to be the right fit for me and
Mhm.
my personality. I thought about going back to school and getting a second master's in counseling because, like I said, I have one in human development, and then and that only came about because I have students that come to me and tell me everything more than they need to tell me. Students that I don't even teach, like they're just friends of other students that I teach that I meet, and it's like, right, I feel like a counselor anyway. They're all coming to me for help and advice or, to pick my brain. And so I thought about that. And then I was like, no, I still don't think that that's going to be the right path. So what am I going to do? And then I just, I said, you know what, Dee, let it go. It's going to come to you, pray about it and just let it come to you. So I did. And so probably another 2 whole years went by. And then this idea hit me like, okay, I knew I wanted to get into educational consulting, but I wanted to get, even more specific. And I said, I think I'm gonna start my academic coaching business. I want to be an academic coach. And that's how the Skillful Learner came about. And the reason why I named my business the Skillful Learner is because again, I'm a career tech, education teacher. And my main mission of the Skillful Learner is to teach the skills that are overlooked, overshadowed, or just not simply taught at all.
Mhm.
Certain things that a lot of parents may complain about, like, gosh, they really need to have courses in this, but they don't.
Yeah.
Or they do have courses where you can kind of touch on certain skill sets, but um, it's not emphasized. You just get a little
Mhm.
snippet. So I wanted to focus on specific skills that our children need, like I said, to sustain life, life skills. And so my model, if you've been following me, my model is, it's not just about academics, it's about life skills. What are you going to do once you're out on your own to sustain yourself? What are you going to do to be resilient and keep pushing and keep going when you get the no? Because the no is going to happen. You're not always going to get a yes. You got to compete pretty much for anything you do. You're going to have to compete for your job. You're going to have to interview. You're going to have experiences where you're working with other people. You're going to have to know conflict resolution, all types of things. And so I just wanted to focus on different skill sets. And that's how the Skillful Learner was birthed, quite frankly.
And you recently opened a mastermind, or is it starting soon?
Yeah, so I have my Empowered Intellectual Mastermind, and so I do different rounds or cohorts, and so that'll be opening back up actually in a few weeks, where I'll be taking applications for the next round of students. And what the mastermind is, it's an 8-week high impact academic coaching program. And we basically focus heavily on 3 modules. So the first module is personal development growth, where we really dig deep into academic mindset, which is basically what my presentation for your conference is about. And we do a lot of personal development growth in the first module. The second module, we're working on communication skills, written communication and oral communication. And then the last module is the goal setting piece, but more specifically, actionable goal setting. So like SMART goals, and really figuring out, okay, how are you putting action, and how are you writing out your goal plan so that you can really get to the end result that you want to see. And it's 8 weeks, and it's a combination of group and one-on-one academic coaching.
Now, how would you say the need for academic coaching has changed, considering now that students are going to school in so many different ways? I mean, before, I've taught in a school that had some virtual courses before, but they
Mm-hmm.
weren't virtual like now. They were virtual in that you came to the building and you took the course online and you had a facilitator in the room. But
Mm-hmm.
now students are attending all of their courses completely virtually from their homes. How would you say the need for these academic skills and academic coaching has changed in light of that?
Wow, so many ways. So one thing that immediately comes to mind from when I was taking your classes is how, like, how you would always tell us that teaching in the online space is totally different than teaching face to face. And so I think about that from the student perspective. Learning in the online space is totally different from face to face. So now that this virtual learning umbrella has opened up with the pandemic and COVID, a lot of families are realizing that their students have a lot of gaps and they need help in a lot of areas. So that's one way it definitely has changed. It has really shed a light on, like I said, those areas where their children need additional support and need additional help, because like I said, it's just different. Yes, you can do a lot of the same things that you would typically teach and learn face to face in a virtual setting, but you really have to modify the way that you give that instruction for the student to be able to receive it and actually, take it in the way that you need for them to take it in. And then also, there needs to be a conversation about the difference between academic coaching and then tutoring, because I've encountered several people who think that they're the same and they're not. So what I explained to them is that a tutor helps you to become not an expert, but they give you specific help with a specific content area or subject. I use myself as an example all the time. I did not like math. I still don't like math. Okay, I was not good at math. And so I did at one point have a math tutor to help me pass my math classes and for me to be able to graduate and satisfy that requirement for high school. So you get a tutor to help you with specific subjects, that you are having challenges in or struggling with. The difference with academic coaching is that academic coaches help you to look at the overall picture, your overall school experience. So an academic coach is really focusing, or I think should be focusing on strategies that's going to make you successful overall and just kind of make you a well-rounded student, a well-rounded individual, so that you can have the most successful overall school experience. So the academic coach is trying to reach, that whole child type of mentality, the whole child learning experience, whereas tutoring is kind of more specific to, like I said, a content area or a subject.
I think that's really important for people to understand,
Mm-hmm.
because you're right. Tutoring, you'll become proficient in one area, with your academic coaching, it sounds like, and especially now with virtual and hybrid, it's going to help build the students' level of independence so
Exactly.
that they
Hmm.
can manage learning in this new format and keeping track of everything now that there's not a teacher who is physically asking, can I see this? Can I see that?
Right.
Being able to walk around the room and
Right,
check
and
in
do
with
all of
them.
those traditional things. And
Yeah.
like you said, you mentioned independence. How many times have you heard we're making you college and career ready? You have to
Yes.
be college and career ready.
Yes.
Well, if we're really making you college and career ready, right, we have to make you independent, like I said, to be able to stand on your own 2 feet, because mom and daddy are not always going to be there. They're not going to be sitting in those classes with you. They're not taking the test with you or for you. They're not completing the assignment. So you have to be able to know the different skill sets that you need to have, and be able to, use and implement the strategies so that you can successfully navigate through all of your classes, and not just your classes, but all of your kind of your experiences that you're going to be having.
Well, Dee, I wish I could take one of your classes. Like, I'm a nerd. I love study skills. I love studying in general. Like,
Well, I'm going to be offering outside of the mastermind. I am going to be offering several different types of workshops for the summer and stuff. Because, like I said, I really, this virtual learning is not going anywhere, folks. It's going to be
right,
here in some way, shape, or form. And I like to remind people that it was already here. Of course, the pandemic, like I said, opened people's eyes to it, but virtual learning was already here. We just didn't really hear about it. But
right.
now that COVID is here and we're in this space, now everybody knows about virtual learning. So it's not going anywhere. It's just going to keep developing and developing and developing. And like we discussed, you have to understand as an educator how, again, to teach in that space, because it's totally different. You have to adapt. It is not, the same as getting up there in your classroom and looking at your students every day face to face. And then as the student, like I said, you have to be able to make some adjustments so that you can learn in the online space as well. So it does take some modifications and adjustments.
And when you mention college and career ready and virtual learning being here to stay,
Hmm.
what pops out in my mind is the fact that I've worked many virtual positions. Even when I was still a teacher, I worked virtually planning conferences. And back then it was a conference call where we all kind of sat on the phone and listened.
Right.
Then we got updated to the video calls where you had to work with your team. And then you had like a SharePoint kind of
Hmm.
portal where you would go in and drop documents and collaborate with each other that way. So I love the fact that virtual learning has put our students in a space where they can practice those career readiness skills, because a lot of employers are not going to go back to full time in person. A lot of
Right.
them are going to do away with their physical spaces and make all of their positions virtual as much as they can.
Because it saves them a
So
lot of
that
money.
college and career readiness point that you make, I think, is extremely valid,
Yeah.
and it's one that we really don't need to gloss over.
Yeah, it saves companies money, quite frankly. Once you've, like I said, that's the other thing that the pandemic has kind of opened up Pandora's box. Is like, wow, yeah, when you realize that, yeah, I can do at least 80% of my job remotely, they're going to look at ways to make this thing as permanent or as close to as possible. So
Hmm.
it takes adjustments on everybody's part.
All right, Dee, tell everyone the name of your session at the Teach to Empower conference and what they can expect to learn.
So the name of my session is The Power of Academic Mindset. And so I will be presenting on the four main types of academic mindset, and also how our students, can at least identify with at least one of those types, if not more. Because the notion is a lot of our students don't struggle just because, they want to be struggling with their classes. They don't want to do well. I fundamentally believe that our students want to do well, even the ones that we
Absolutely.
consider are struggling students, are at risk, population and things like that. They want to do well. They just don't have the strategies to be able to do so. And then as an educator with your teacher lens on, if you don't have strategies, different ways to instruct them in that regard, it's kind of like, cement meeting cement. And so then you don't get anywhere. It just comes at it. You know what I mean? Like it's that standstill, like, okay, well, I don't really know how to handle this as the instructor. And then the student's like, well, I'm just going to give up because I don't know what I'm doing. And students shut down. So I'm presenting on the power of academic mindset and the 4 main types of academic mindset. And that basically boils down to, for one, your sense of feeling like you belong. I actually posted about this today. Your sense of belonging. So do you have a general sense that you belong in that academic space? You feel like you belong in that space, whether it be the school as a whole? Do you feel like you're a part of your school? Whether it be, do you feel that you belong in your classroom? Do you feel that you are an active member or a welcomed member in that academic space of your classroom? So that's the first type of mindset. And then the second type would be, your ability grows with your effort. If you don't put the work in, you're not going to really get any results, right? So you got to do the work. But part of doing that work, like I said, that has to come from knowing what you need to do, knowing what strategies you can implement, knowing how to do things a different way if you're not, getting the success or seeing the results that you want to see. The third thing would be, can you succeed, or feeling like I can succeed at this? Like, okay, for example, I'm going to take 3 AP classes. Do I really feel that I would be successful in doing that? Why or why not? And then lastly, that the work has value for you. So you're either in these courses or you're pursuing this goal or you're going down this pathway, whatever it is, you're doing that because you have a general sense or feeling that that work that you're doing has some type of value for you. It's going to help you in some way, because you're not going to do anything that you are not going to see value in. You're not going to really give a lot of time and effort towards something that you don't see beneficial to you. So those are the 4 main types. So I'll be giving details for those and strategies for working with students in their personal development growth area for those. Because like I said, it really comes down to once you realize where your academic roadblocks and challenges are coming from, which I think is tied to one of those 4 main types. And there are other types of academic mindset, but those are the 4 common ones. Once you can identify, okay, I keep consistently having these roadblocks and challenges in school or a certain class or whatever because of X, Y, and Z. Why do I keep coming back to this point? It's because of one of those. You can at least identify with one of those, like I said, if not more. So then how can we change that? How can we work on ourselves to overcome that and then start seeing a transformation happen?
Well, Dee, I think that's applicable not only to our students, but for us as
Mm-hmm.
employees, as educators, being members of organizations.
Yes, definitely.
Everything that you mentioned, I was just kind of counting down in my head, like maybe I don't feel a sense of belonging in this place, or maybe I don't see the value over here, and that's why I'm not. So I think for the teachers, for their students, for other professionals who are tuning in, that academic mindset could be powerful in many ways.
Yes, thank you. So I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, when you reached out to me for this conference, I was like, oh yeah, yes, I will be a part, because I think it's amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, she's doing her own conference. So I'm just so proud of you and excited for you, because I think this is just so amazing.
Well, thank you very much. I'm excited about your session. I'm excited for all of you all to meet each other.
Yes,
I'm
I'll
looking
be going
forward
to
to the
the next,
professional connections that are going to take
yeah,
place.
I'll be going to the next meet and greet. I wasn't able to attend the last one, but I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to the other session presenters and what they're presenting on. So like I said, it really is going to be a packed, powerhouse of educators, but just, great information and best practices being shared, which is what we need. It's so good to be able to network in this way and really feed off of one another. And it's like, oh, I didn't even, consider that. I can try this, or, just learning something new. I'm like you, a professional student.
Yep.
So I love learning like just different things and seeing how I can make them work for me and my students. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Dee. For everyone who's watching this interview, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the Powerful Teaching channel, then head over to powerfulteaching.com and register for the
Register
Teach
and
to
get your
Empower
ticket.
conference. I'm telling y'all, this is going to be amazing. It is professional development for teachers by teachers. I have to throw this in. Because on one of the Facebook ads the other day, someone commented with a question, what makes these teachers qualified? Who are they?
Uh-oh.
And
Somebody's
I thought,
coming
oh
for
my
us.
goodness, I wish all of the interviews were done so I could just send you every link
Yeah, a
and let
link.
you
Yeah.
see who they are. These teachers are qualified because they are your peers. Okay, aside from the degrees and the years of experience, and many of them are award-winning educators. Many of them have presented on national platforms. They are published authors. They are noted in their districts. Aside from all of that, aside from all of the accolades, these are your peers who are doing the exact work every single day. And that's why the majority of our speakers are not people like myself. Some of us have been out of the classroom for a few years, and we're still working in education. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that we all have tremendous value to offer. But I just remember when I was a teacher, I loved hearing from the consultants, but I also, in a pinch, when I really needed something, I didn't go online. I didn't look up somebody I'd heard at a conference. I
Right.
would go to one of my colleagues and
Right.
say, how do you do this? Or do you
Yeah.
have something you can
Or
share
I
on
need
this
I
topic?
need help. Yep. And they were there to support
Exactly.
you.
So,
Exactly.
y'all, these are the people who are being sought out by their peers. And now I just collected them all up and I brought them to you.
And
So,
I'm
grab
actually
your
glad you mentioned that
ticket.
because I wasn't aware that someone had posed that question. But just the fact that you're even doing these interviews right here, because, typically when we sign up for professional development, you get your, brochure, your pamphlet, and you can read about the presenters and stuff. But this is, just great to be able to have a face to it and then like a conversation ahead of what you're going to get at the actual conference. So I think it's amazing that you're even doing the interviews.
Yeah, I want people to meet y'all. I
Mhm.
want people to see what I see. Like, y'all are my favorite teachers. So I
Thank
wanted
you.
everybody to see that. So, y'all, grab those tickets to Teach to Empower. Now, Dee, let everybody know where they can find you so they can see these amazing Instagram reels that you share.
Oh, definitely. So if you are not following me, you need to be following me. So you can follow me on IG at the Skillful Learner. I know it's a mouthful for some, at the Skillful Learner on IG. Also on Facebook at the Skillful Learner. I have more specifically on my IG page, educational tips, um, you know, educational strategies that I present on in my stories and on my news feed daily, just to kind of help parents and children. And in addition to, that's where I announce all of my mastermind programs, workshops that I'm going to be having, so on and so forth. So follow at the Skillful Learner.
All right, y'all, like and subscribe. Go get your ticket to Teach to
Get
Empower,
your
and
tickets.
I
We're
will
still
see
under
you.
early registration, right?
Huh?
We're still under early registration, right?
Yep, until
Yeah.
the 24th. My
Get
team
your tickets
extended it.
early.
Y'all, the conference team is working hard behind the
Mhm.
scenes. When they said extended, I said, okay. So you can still get it at the early bird rate of $47. Thank you for bringing that up, Dee.
Register now. Save you a couple of bucks, but register now because it is not going to stay that price.
That's right. That's right. So I will see y'all. Thank you again, Dee. This
Thank you
was
so
great.
much for having me, Dr. Blades. I appreciate it and I appreciate this opportunity. So thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to
Absolutely.
the
Same to
conference.
you. And I'll see the rest of y'all in the next episode of Powerful Teaching with Dr. Blades.